Yep. Hello everybody and welcome to our ArrowTour West section involvement webinar. Glad that you could join us. If you are watching this on the YouTube page right now, you will see a box on the upper right hand corner of your screen that's to the right of the video you are currently watching. Please make sure that you type us a comment in there and include your name, where you're from, what section you're representing, so that way we can take attendance of who is here. That same comment box will be where you post any questions, and feel free to post any questions throughout the duration of this webinar. There will be a question and answer period at the end, and we will address any questions you post there at that time. So at this time, I'm going to have each of our presenters introduce themselves, and starting off again, I'm Michael Kincher. I'm your 2014 Western Region Chief, and now I'm currently serving as your Road Crew Chief, kind of acting as a youth lead for ArrowTour in the Western Region. So also joining us, we have passed this over to Ricky.
Hi, I'm Ricky Colon. I am the ArrowTour West Operations Lead from Alamogordo, New Mexico. So I'll pass it on to VNA.
West Event Coordination Lead. Thank you.
And
we'll pass it over to Mike Goswick.
Hey everyone, I'm Mike Goswick. I am the PR Marketing Coordinator for ArrowTour West. So I'm glad you all could join the call. I think I'm going to turn it over back to Michael to kind of continue on. Him and Ricky will be the ones moderating the call. So thanks.
And a shout out to Terrell, who's our ArrowTour advisor and has also joined us for this evening. So we're going to go ahead and get a quick intro video started for all of you, and this video will explain some of the basics about ArrowTour just to make sure we are on the same page, and hopefully we'll give you some ideas of some questions you can ask. This very same video was shown to all of the lodge and council leadership that joined us in our similar webinar last week, which was targeted at them. And this kind of gives a basic summary of everything ArrowTour. So watch this video, and then after that we're going to go over a little bit about the goals of the section and your involvement in the ArrowTour planning process. So let's get that video queued up.
ArrowTour, our national centennial experience. This video is an introduction to the ArrowTour program, an essential overview. First, what is ArrowTour? ArrowTour is designed to bring the 100th anniversary celebration to everyone across the United States. It's open to airmen, scouts, scouters, and the public at large. Few organizations turn 100 years old, and we want to showcase what we've done over the last 100 years, along with what is to come. The main theme for ArrowTour is Reflect, Connect, Discover. We want people to come and reflect on what the Order has done, along with what they have done for the Order. We also want people to connect with each other through games, interactive displays, and more, both at the tour and on social media. Finally, we want people to discover what the Order has to offer, what the next 100 years will bring, and how guests can be a part of it. Our centennial is a big deal, and while NOAC will have a record-setting 15,000 airmen, that only represents 6% of everyone in the Order of the Arrow. Our centennial is for 100% of our airmen. ArrowTour is how the National Order of the Arrow is going to bring that celebration to you. The program itself will be several display tents with branding, games, silk screening, a centennial trading post, information, and interactive displays, and more. The base layout will be 6 tents arranged in 2 lines like a midway, with a box truck and a stage setting up the back of the event. Because all venues are different, this layout will shift based on topography. However, the minimum total displays will be at least what is pictured. Each small tent is 12 by 12, and each large tent is 12 by 24. Traveling with all the equipment will be a crack team of scouts and scouters. They will be coordinating, setting up, tearing down, and presenting what our centennial is all about. This staff team will be traveling over 6,000 miles for 6 weeks to 35 events across 15 different states. ArrowTour will be coming to a city near you, and we want you to be there. Leading up to and during the tour, people can participate by following posts on the Western region and national Facebook pages, along with posting to Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram with the hashtag ATWest. Do you have any questions, comments, or concerns about ArrowTour? Email us at atwest@western.oa-bsa.org. Like what you see? We want you to come to an ArrowTour event. Find the closest one to you by going to western.oa-bsa.org/atwestern and click on schedule. We look forward to seeing you at an ArrowTour event near you.
Hopefully that video gave you a little bit of an idea on the basics of ArrowTour and kind of sets us on the same page. So again, just a reminder, if you are joining us a few minutes late, that on the right side of the video you are currently watching, there is a comments box. Please make sure that you introduce yourself there, state your name and what section you're representing, and also be sure to ask any questions that you have there. We are collecting those questions and we'll be answering them at the end as part of our question and answer period. So with that being said, we're now going to move on to our next item, which is talking a little bit about exactly what the section's involvement in ArrowTour is going to be. Now, I'm going to bring up on my screen here the 4 goals that we have for a section involvement. So this right here is our goals for a section involvement with the ArrowTour West program. And we have 4 kind of primary goals that are outlined in 4 key areas. The first is logistics, and the idea is that as a section, you're going to be helping us keep the caravan moving and on schedule through the section's territory. That means while we are on tour and physically traveling through your section's territory, we're going to be looking for your guys' help to keep us on the move. In the case that anything happens, somebody gets sick, injured, whatever comes up, that you'll be able to help us out there by providing backup drivers or anything of that sort that we may need, roadside assistance, whatever it may be. The second area is program, and the idea is that while lodges are using this as an opportunity to showcase their program and everything that they do in the Order of the Arrow, this might be an excellent opportunity for you as a section to also showcase what you're doing and kind of what you do in the Order of the Arrow. So to have a program presence at the stops that are within your section's area or that will be attended by a lot of your section's members. The third area is PR marketing. And the idea here is that, of course, like everyone else in the national command all the way down to the individual lodges, you could help us promote the ArrowTour events. Hopefully every section has appointed a ArrowTour coordinator, and one of the things that we would ask that ArrowTour coordinator to do is kind of similar to a high adventure coordinator or NOAC coordinator to help promote the ArrowTour event. The last area is the event coordination, and we have 35 stops in the Western region that we are working to try and manage and to get ready for this ArrowTour event. And 35 stops is quite a bit of a task for a small team of us to do. So we've asked that sections can help us out by helping coordinate with the individual stops that are in your section's area. So we're going to go over in detail each of these 4 programs, or each of these 4 areas, and that will comprise the rest of the webinar tonight. So we're going to move on to discussing the very first of these, and the very first of these is logistics. So if I could ask Terrell to talk a little bit about the backup drivers and kind of what we're looking for from sections in that respect.
We are looking for either one full-time driver that would like to join us for all 6 weeks of the tour and then drive to NOAC with us, perhaps a NOAC staffer that would like to get a free ride to NOAC. If we can't find a third full-time driver, then we would like to find several drivers who can work anywhere from 2 or 3 days to maybe even 2 weeks. So if you know of anyone, particularly retired people, people that perhaps are school teachers and have time off in the summer, we would like to get them interested, have them contact us. we really need to find at least one more driver for most of the days we're on the tour. We don't really have much of a backup plan if the van or the Enterprise truck die. We'll pretty much just have to sit there and wait until Enterprise brings us a replacement vehicle. Fortunately, both vehicles can go the whole tour without oil changes, so we don't have to worry too much about anything other than gas.
All right. Thank you, Tara. Hopefully that has answered what we're looking for in terms of drivers. So if any of you have any questions about that, again, just a reminder to post those in the comment box to the right of the video that you are now watching. So, and we will be addressing those at the end during our question and answer period. So the next item on our agenda is to talk a little bit about the routes. That way you have an idea of when we will be in your individual sections. So our tour is actually scheduled to start on the 18th of June, and we will be up in Kennewick, Washington in section W1E. From there, we're going to move on into section W2W, where we'll spend several days going through Utah before moving up through the eastern half of Idaho. We'll then briefly go through W2N, when we have a stop in Montana. We'll then continue over back into W1E, where we will be in Spokane, Washington, and then over to W1N, where we will be stopping in the Seattle and the Tacoma areas. After that, we will head down the California coast through section W1S and hitting all three of your lodges. We'll then go over into section W3N in Reno, over through Sacramento up to the coast. Down, we'll cross the border into section W3S. We will go through section W3S, down through California, through section W4N, and then into section W4S. From there, we will make our way all the way down to San Diego, which is section W6W. We will jump back up through Orange County, hit Weatava Lodge in W4S, and then we will move through section W6W, Vegas to Phoenix, Tucson, over to El Paso to start section W6E. We'll move up through Albuquerque and into Colorado, where we will hit W2S. And from there, we will continue on to Michigan. Our last stop, however, will be W2N, which is in Lovefield, Colorado. So, hopefully that will give you a little bit of an idea of the area that we will be going through and when. We have a specific schedule available on our ArrowTour website. So I'm actually going to toss this over to Mike, who is our PR marketing lead, and hopefully Mike will be able to show you how to access that schedule so you can see the dates and where we will be when. So I'm going to toss this over to Mike.
Sure, I can do that. So I'm just going to pull up the ArrowTour West website so you guys can all see. Actually, I'll pull up the Western Region website so you can see how you get there. So let me go ahead and there we go. So if you take a look on this page, it's the Western Region website. We're all pretty familiar with it. There's two ways that you can get to the ArrowTour program website. Through the program menu here, you come down and over to ArrowTour under events, or on the main page itself, there's this ArrowTour button right there on the sidebar. If you click this link, it'll take you to the Western Region ArrowTour page. From here, there's some basic information, gives you kind of an overview. We'll go into some of that later, but there's the schedule. And this schedule, like Michael was saying, this is what we're showing everybody. So we need to make sure that the information that we're putting on there is up to date, and we need to be in constant communication with the lodges and updating this. And so this is one way that the sections can help, is by going through this and looking at the stops in their sections and saying, hey, by the way, this stop is incorrect. So you can send those emails to myself or to the AT West staff at western.oa-bsa.org email to really get to us and inform us of anything that may need to be changed.
We are now going to talk a little bit about section officers traveling with the tour. We've received a few questions about this in the past, and we would like to address that. So to be clear, our core tour staff is referred to as a road crew, and that is everyone you see presenting here today, as well as a few others are members of our road crew. And this road crew is going to be a total of 8 people. That is 6 youth or youth-ish members and 2 adult advisors. And they're going to be traveling along the entire, going to every single of our 35 stops and continuing to staff the event once we arrive at NOAC this summer. So we will have a little bit of room for some additional travelers to come along with us, however. We are expecting a national officer or two to be joining us for some part of the tour. And we are also expecting some local members to be joining us as well. So if any of you as section chiefs would like an opportunity to join us this summer, hopefully you've received some email communications in the past from Vincent Despain. He is our logistics lead on our road crew. If you have not already responded to him, please be sure to do so and let us know what times you would be interested in traveling with the crew. Now, we're not totally sure how logistics are going to work out as far as transportation and everything goes. We do know that for a few of your sections it does make sense to jump on, and we'll be passing back through your section again, and you'll be able to jump off easily without it being too much of a problem. But we are still working on that. We will definitely give you details about how that'll work out as soon as we have them from our national side of things. So until then, again, if you have not already seen those emails, this is an opportunity for you as a section chief to travel along with the caravan for a few stops. You can request dates with us, either by sending myself or Terrell an email. Please do so and let us know when you would be interested in traveling on the tour. If you're unable to make any of the tour dates at all, if you have some kind of summer internship or other commitment, we understand. Just make sure that you still let us know so that way we're not waiting for some kind of a response. All right? So with that being said, we're actually going to get ready to go over to VNA, and VNA is going to talk a little bit about our section coordinators. And that's some of you here on the call with us today. And the idea with the section coordinators, VNA is going to go over that, and he's going to talk about kind of what your job description is and how you fit in with the larger ArrowTour planning process. So I'm going to toss this over to VNA.
Alrighty then. Thank you, Michael, for that. And so, as you may be familiar, ArrowTour on the national level will be headed up by the National Vice Chief and the National Chief from last year. Regionally, the structure, we've been referencing it earlier in this call, we'll have Michael Kinchner, who will be serving as our crew chief, and so he'll be the lead youth for ArrowTour in the Western region. We have the Deputy Lead Advisor for ArrowTour West, which is Terrell Miller. Ricky Colon will be our Operations Lead. Vincent Despain is our Logistics Lead. Mike Goswick is our PR and Marketing Lead. Cody Thompson is our Program Lead. And myself, I'll be the Event Coordination Lead. And so, working with each of these people, we have asked the lodges to set up what is called a Lodge ArrowTour Committee. And on their committees, what they'll have is they're supposed to have someone to correspond with each of these individuals. So the Lodge Event Coordinator would correspond to me. Your Program Vice Chairman in the ArrowTour Committee would correspond to our program lead, etc., etc. Each person would coordinate with someone on our road crew. What we're going to be asking the sections to do is provide what are called section ArrowTour coordinators. And the section ArrowTour coordinators are basically the go-to person between the region and the individuals from the lodges. And so they'll be working with me throughout this process moving forward to get a better handle on the status of how our lodges are doing in terms of everything with event coordination. And so they'll be helping me with that. We'll be making phone calls to them very soon. This past month and a half, our focus has been mainly with making sure the lodges get set up correctly. And so the next step is to bring all the section ArrowTour coordinators into the fold. And with that, I'll pass it over back to Michael Kinchner.
Awesome. Thank you for that, VNA. So we have some, we've been getting some questions, and the first to address is a question from Chief Keith, who's asking about what to do if a let's see, what to do if a stop is in our section but is hosted by a lodge in another section. Which section lead will be assisting us? So this is actually a fairly unique situation. I don't believe we have this outside of California anywhere, but there are 1 or 2 stops inside of California that will be in a different section or may be attended primarily by lodges that are not in the same section as hosting it. So as far as backup drivers go, we are going to be looking for anyone between stops that are in your section. So in the case of one stop, as an example, being Camp Puente, which is up in Willits, California, which is in W3N, but is the actual camp and council are from W3S. As far as any issues go, we would be looking for the host section, the lodge that the section that the host lodge is from. We're looking for them to help us out. So in the case that we have issues between Sacramento and Willits, we would be looking towards W3N to help us out with that. But in the case that we have issues between Willits and Petaluma, we would be looking for W3S to help us out with that. So it's going to be based on the stop that we are traveling from for that day. And that'll be true depending on the host lodge and what section they're in, regardless of who might be attending that stop, or host lodge or host council. So with hopefully that answers that question. And again, just a reminder to keep asking questions in that box on the right of the video you're now watching, and we will be happy to answer them. So with that being said, we are now going to move on to our next agenda item. And this is going to be talking a little bit about the program. So the second goal with these sections was to have some kind of program presence. And as you saw in our video at the beginning of this session, it talks a little bit about how we are only going to have maybe 6% of the airmen represented at NOAC. We're actually going to have the vast majority of our airmen, despite the record break numbers, are not going to. One of the things we're trying to do as ArrowTour is to spread the centennial celebration to all the rest of the airmen in our order. Now, this presents us a unique opportunity to put on a program for all kinds of people who would not otherwise normally see a national level program. The same thing is going to be true for your sections. This will be an opportunity for you as a section to make a public appearance and to have a presence at all the events that are within your section's area. And you will actually be able to show what you do as a section and maybe advertise some of the things that are going on in your section right now, and you'll be able to show that to an audience you might not otherwise be able to reach. So we have actually compiled a list of a few suggestions for you as a section, some things you might want to consider possibly looking at as program offerings at the stops in your actual section area. Now, to preface this first, however, we want to make sure that you're aware you will need to get the approval of the host lodge and whoever owns the venue that your program will be at. You make sure that you have their approval before doing anything. Same goes true with any section trading post or anything like that. But if you secure those approvals, you're more than welcome to have some kind of a section presence there. Now, to give you a few examples, we have this list that we put together. And just to kind of go down this list, some ideas that have been compiled by some of our section chiefs and some of the section chiefs from other regions as well. We have an idea of a conclave promo booth, so maybe you have a conclave coming up in the fall after summer, or even if you have a spring conclave, you could advertise the following year, 2016's conclave. This might be an opportunity for your section if you have any kind of promotions efforts, a promotion CVC or a committee, communications, anything like that, to have some kind of presence with maybe some handouts or anything like that, or maybe an opportunity for attendees at your ArrowTour event to register for your section newsletters. We will be doing the exact same thing on the region and national levels, so we will be represented there as a region. We'll have the national or the Arrow represented there. You might as well be represented as a section as well. You might have an opportunity, likewise, if you have any special offerings as a section. For example, a booth about high adventure. We know there's quite a few sections out there that have some kind of special opportunity, be it a scholarship or a program or something of that nature for OA High Adventure. Maybe you could have some kind of booth that your section puts on, work with the host council, for example, and have a high adventure promotion booth there. We will, of course, have some adventure promotions as part of our base program, but what we will not have is anything specific to your section, such as information about any opportunities, scholarships, or anything like that that you may offer. So you can add those as kind of a supplement to what we're doing. So another section is currently doing any section initiatives you have. If you're offering any program assistance, any trainings, any section level powwows, maybe you have some kind of OA troop rep program, anything like that that you have going on in the section level that's designed to help your lodges out, this would be a great opportunity for you to go out there and have a presence and have that audience of the lodge members and the airmen in general, and to really make a great showing as a section. Just go down a couple more ideas we have on our list here. Leadership development booth. Again, if you have any kind of trainings, similarly to High Adventure, if you have any kind of scholarship or special programs to get youth to NLS or NLATS or any other higher OA trainings, or if you as a section run any trainings outside of your conclave, this might be an opportunity to promote that as well. Another idea, if you have anything NOAC, if you have a gathering at NOAC planned for your section or anything like that, this would be an opportunity maybe for you to promote that. I know that a lot of our lodges are planning on having their NOAC contingents present at their ArrowTour stop and maybe have a NOAC contingent meeting. This could be a good opportunity for you as a section to reach out to them and connect to each of the contingents going from the lodges in your section. And finally, we do have a note in here. There's been a lot of questions asked about trading posts and how those will work. And I know that all of our sections out there do have a trading post of sorts, and there's been some questions about how exactly we can navigate that. Just to be clear, we as a road crew will have a national level Order of the Arrow trading post. That trading post will only offer ArrowTour related items, however. There will not be any generic items, any specific items, nothing, just the ArrowTour items will be in our trading post. Furthermore, that trading post is the only trading post that applies to the agreement that's in the Memorandum of Understanding. And in case you're not familiar with that, there's an agreement that says that the sales from our trading post specifically will be split 40-60, where the host council lodge will get to keep 60% of the profits and OA National will receive the other 40%. That only applies to the very specific ArrowTour trading posts that we will have. Lodges, we have already encouraged them to bring along trading posts, just so long as they have permission of the site to be selling whatever they are selling. The same thing will go for you as a section. If you would like to have trading post items, maybe you have some kind of deal where you give lodges your trading post items to put in their trading post and they sell them for you and give you a percentage of that, or if you want to be there directly, however you work it out is totally up to you and between you and your host councils. But we do want you to be aware that is an option, and that is completely okay with us. Just need to make sure that you secure the appropriate approvals from the host venue and to host councils or lodges at stops you will be selling at. So that's kind of a list of program ideas that's been put together, and of course if you have any other ideas, that's completely okay. Just have your section ArrowTour coordinator reach out to us and throw suggestions at us, and we're of course happy to work with you and see if we can come up with anything. This is, again, a program that's focused on bringing the Centennial to everyone and showcasing what the Order of the Arrow is about. So we have encouraged lodges to have their own program offerings and supplements there, and same thing goes for the sections. This is a great opportunity to raise awareness for what you as a section do for the Order of the Arrow. So we're going to move on to our last goal here, which is about PR marketing. And we're going to talk a little bit about how you as a section can further the PR marketing efforts that we have going on and the outreach that we have going on as kind of a region, and how you can help support the lodges in their efforts to promote their ArrowTour events. So I'm going to turn this over to Mike Goswick, our PR marketing lead. He's going to talk to you a little bit about the promotional tools that are out there and how you as a section can help use them, and how you as a section can support your lodge's efforts to promote their ArrowTour events. So I'm going to kick it over to Mike.
Thank you, Michael. So ArrowTour is going to be a lot of fun, like a lot of fun, but only if people show up. And this is where it's really important that we have section support. We can put on this great program and the lodges can bring all this great stuff to ArrowTour, but if no one shows up, it's not going to be any fun. So we need these sections and the lodges to really promote this, and we need the sections to help the lodges promote this and encourage them to promote this. We have a lot of material for you guys to use, and this is especially important for sections that have a conclave coming up prior to ArrowTour. So we're going to have, I think 7, I think it was the last. Anyways, we have quite a few sections with conclaves this coming month that really need to be promoting ArrowTour with the print material, with the videos, with everything that we have, so we can really drive attendance to this thing and make it really fun. So let me show you where you can get some of these materials, because there are quite a bit of material that you can use that has been created to make this easy for you guys. We don't want to have to make this a burden. We want to make this something that you guys can just take and run with. So let me switch over to that right now. There we go. So this is the ArrowTour, like I said, the main ArrowTour page. And if you notice at the top here, we have the Promote tab. This will be where all of the promotional material for the Western Region ArrowTour is going to live. I'm sure many of you know from the National Planning Meeting, there's also the National ArrowTour website. It also has its own materials, but to make it easy for the Western Region, all of the materials on that site are also in this promotional page. So this is like one-stop shopping, and we've created some materials that really are more targeted for the Western Region to help really speak more to the Western Region. So if you'll notice here, we have the main introduction ArrowTour video. There's also a general letter that talks about a little bit of what this is and how you can use it. But the main thing to note is over here. These are all of the ArrowTour files. So this is the branding materials that you guys can use to make your own posters if you wish. We just ask that if you do plan on doing that, to follow the national branding guidelines that are in that folder. There's print material, the videos, along with web content, things like web buttons and Facebook photos to share, along with some pre-templated out writing that you guys can post in things like newsletters, on like email newsletters, on websites, things like that. So I really encourage you guys to look through here. Be sure to go through the read first. It really can spell out how exactly you can use this stuff at your conclaves, online, during COCs, things like that. And so really, I really ask that you guys go through some of this, and I can show you kind of what we've got. Like looking at the print material here, these are all posters that are there available for you to use, table tents, conclave packet inserts. There are some blank posters here that have some fillable or PDFs that are fillable, along with images that you guys can put behind and make your own. We really wanted to make this that you guys can take it and run with it. So that is all here for you. Along with the video, there's the national video that they put out that kind of talks about ArrowTour, but there's also that informational video. So if you guys are doing trainings at conclaves, or you have a COC, then people are really wondering what ArrowTour is, and you're not necessarily sure how to explain it perfectly, we have that info video that we showed earlier at the beginning that you guys can watch and review, and really kind of help sum up what ArrowTour is. And so really using these materials, and the biggest thing is you guys really need to be excited. If we're not excited about ArrowTour, if we're not looking forward to what it's going to be and what we have for people, if we're not going out and being excited about what we're bringing and being excited that we're sharing the centennial celebration with not 6%, but with 100% of Arrowmen, since that's really what ArrowTour is about, then we really, really need you guys to be excited about it. Because if you're not excited about it, then the lodge chiefs are not going to be excited about it. And if the lodge chiefs aren't excited about it, no one's going to get on board. No one's going to be excited, and no one's going to show up. So it really starts with you guys being excited about this. I mean, we've never done anything like this before, ever. And very few organizations even have done this in the history. I mean, in anything. So it's really imperative that you guys are excited about this and are really optimistic about it. It's going to be a fun event. I'm going to be really excited for it. I'm going to be really excited working it all summer. I really hope you guys can get excited about it too. Because if you're not, it's going to be you guys that make or break this program. And I know you guys have things going on with NOAC. You have your own things that you have to do. But this is the 100th anniversary. This is like a huge culmination of what we've worked for. I mean, we all dedicate hours of our lives to this program. I mean, the past few months, I've dedicated at least 40. So you guys really just back us up on this. Let's make this an awesome event.
Awesome. Thank you, Mike. So last thing that we're going to go over before we open up to our general question and answer session. Just a quick reminder again to type any questions you have into that comment box so that way we can answer them for you. The last thing we're going to go over is a little bit about what the lodges have heard so far. Since one of your big duties as a section will be to help us out by kind of acting more as a local person who knows the lodges a little bit better in your area and maybe can communicate with them a little bit better than we can to help get them to get their items done. So we're going to go over what's been requested of the lodges so far, give you a brief overview of that so you can kind of see where we're at, what we've asked all of them to do, and kind of what they're looking like. So I'm going to bring up on my screen a few documents, and that'll show you what we have as far as information goes. All right. So we have a few documents here that we would like to show all of you. And the first one right here is our event coordination overview. So as you have been appointing your section's coordinators, both youth and adult, for ArrowTour, they have been added to this document right here. So you can see all their information and everything. This document is inside of a folder that you will receive an invite to if you have not already. VNA will be sending out those invites to you very soon. And this will contain all the information that you need to find and you need to see in order to know where your lodges currently stand and how to help us get moving forward. So also in this document we have a few other things. We have our event schedule here, which has all kinds of details on it about the events in the region. We have our event coordinators and advisors. One thing to notice about this document, as you can see scrolling through it on your screen, is there's a lot of blank spaces on this document. We have a lot of lodges that have yet to appoint a actual ArrowTour coordinator. And there's been a little bit of confusion about who exactly this needs to be. We have been referring to these people by two separate names, and we just want to clarify for everyone they are in fact the same thing in most cases. The ArrowTour Committee Chairman and Advisor versus the ArrowTour Lodge Event Coordinator. The two of them are, in most cases, going to be the same person. We know there's been a little bit of confusion from some of the lodges so far about that. But we're asking that each lodge appoint at the very least one youth and one adult to kind of be the lead for ArrowTour. And when they do, they need to type that name into their Google Drive documents, and it will automatically appear on this roster right here. So all the ones you see that are blank means the lodge has not yet posted any information about who their ArrowTour coordinators are going to be. These are the point people that we're going to be communicating with in addition to the key three, similar to how we are for the section level as VNA previously explained. So we would like your guys' help with making sure that all your lodges get those people appointed. And again, this document you should have access to if you do not already. I know that VNA will be sending you an invite to view this folder, and this document is in there, and you should be receiving those fairly soon. In addition, we similarly have contact information for scout executives, primary contacts, as well as the Lodge Key 3. Now the Lodge Key 3, of course, we pulled our initial information off of the region website and other sources we have available, and we've asked all of our lodges to confirm that their information is correct, so that way when we are communicating with them as a region for ArrowTour, we are sending information to them and not to dead emails and things like that. So this is where we kind of have all that information, and we've been keeping track of all that, making updates as we get them, so we make sure everything is kind of kept up to speed. The last thing in this document is our local staff, which you should see now. And one of the terms of the ArrowTour is we are asking that each host lodge provide 20 people to help us in staffing their events. This is another one of those really big things that we're going to look for some help from the section coordinators and section leadership on, is to make sure that these staff are recruited. Now, one thing we do want to clarify about this, and some questions that have come up about these 20 staff members, they do not need to all come from the host lodge themselves. We know that we have some smaller lodges in the region, and getting 20 staff members may be challenging for them. That is completely okay, and we understand. We just want to make sure that these 20 staff members are able-bodied, and they need to be capable of helping us break down and set up all of our tents and everything. So we're not looking for Cub Scouts or anything like that. We're looking for Boy Scout age and adult age volunteers to help us out, whether they're Arrowmen, council volunteers, just parents helping us out. It doesn't matter too much. They just need to be there for the stop. Similarly, there's several stops in the region that will be serving multiple councils. So if your lodge is hosting a stop that will be serving multiple lodges, multiple councils, the 20 volunteers to help us set up do not need to come from exclusively the host lodge or council. It's okay if they are spread out amongst the multiple councils or lodges that are expected to attend that stop. And we have made some assignment recommendations. I know some information has been sent out in the letters that Terrell has been sending out about which lodges and which councils are going to be paired with whom. And again, we just want to make sure you guys are aware, so when lodges ask questions, that it is okay that the 20 staff members come from wherever they end up coming from. They don't all have to be from the same host group. So that's kind of a summary of this document here that has all that information on it. And again, this is all populated automatically based on what each individual lodge and council updates on their own sheets and their own Google Drive folders, so we can see them update their stuff real time. So we also ask that you kind of help us out by encouraging the lodges and councils to get on top of updating that information and make sure they keep it up to date, so that way we can see kind of where they stand. The second document that we have here is our Master Event Coordination Record. So every single lodge council has been given a Google Drive folder full of documents and information, copy of all of Terrell's letters and everything that we've been sending them so far to kind of help them out. One of the documents in there for each lodge or council is titled the Event Coordination Record. And that contains all of their basic information as a stop. It contains where they're going to have their stop, when. It contains their list of to-do items, their to-do list, their status on their to-do list. It also contains all the contact information for our road crew members, as well as the area for them to enter in that contact information you saw in the previous document. Well, this document right here is kind of our region equivalent to all those individual ones. They're all tied in this document and updated automatically. And similar, there's a few things on this document that will update them automatically. So first here we have been keeping a master list of all of our stops, all their information, where they're going to be hosted at, their actual locations, the addresses of their locations, and over here on the very right-hand side of the document we have our show time and our strike time, which by default is 2 o'clock to 7 o'clock p.m., although we do have a few lodges, councils that have requested time changes, and we have been working with them on that. As you can see, there's a lot of blank columns there, a lot of blank rows. There's been quite a few councils and lodges that have not responded to an email yet. Terrell sent them an email last week, I believe it was, asking them to confirm the start and stop times that they would like to have for their event. So we do need to make sure everybody responds to that. We need to make sure that we know what time we're going to be arriving. And in addition to that, the national level is going to start compiling all this information and publishing it online on their own website. So we're going to make sure that is secured. So an email was sent out yesterday, and it talks about, it's sent to each of the groups of section leadership, and it has details in there about each of the host councils, host lodges in your individual sections. And that includes in there, it'll be the last item on the list under each one if they need to still respond to that email and let us know and confirm their times. So in addition to that, on this document, we have a tab here that has the to-do items for all of the various lodges and councils here. And as we can see, there's a lot of green and a lot of red there. And this is actually tied into every single individual lodge and council's own documents. So as we update each row represents a specific lodge or council, and as we update the to-do items on that row, they can see it reflected, their individual row, inside of their own document, inside of their own Google Drive. And we've been requesting that they maintain communication with us and that they update us whenever they complete these to-do items. Some of them we can see automatically updated, like their updates to their contact information for their coordinators, but some of them, such as posting a story on their lodge or council websites, we do not see automatically updated. So they need to contact us and reach out to us and let us know they have done that. And at that time, we will take a look and update our to-do list for them here. So similarly, we have a kind of a page that based on the completion of each of our stops, what they're looking at as far as what they still need to do and how much they've done so far. And that just kind of gives a summary of all the stops and everything. And again, these two pages right here are kind of the source that we use to get all the information that was emailed out to each of the section leadership, all you guys, yesterday. So you can take a look at that information and go over in detail what is required for each of your lodges, each of your host councils. And I'll just kind of run through briefly what each of the items are so that way you have kind of an idea of what we're talking about here. So first off, we've asked them to to confirm their date, confirm a primary contact, and confirm their venue for ArrowTour. Most of our councils have done this as of this point. We just have a few stragglers left there, and again, you can reference that email to see if any of your councils or lodges or any of those stragglers we need help with. And one thing I do want to draw everyone's attention to that is very important is the confirming of the venue. We do need to make sure that every single host council has their venue 100% confirmed, contract signed, and everything, and turned over to us by April 15th. If we do not have the information by April 15th, we will be required, per National's request, to drop that council from the tour entirely. So that is a very important piece of information that we do need assistance on. There are, again, most of the councils have already secured that, but there are a few stragglers out there. So we would like your help as a section to make sure that the few councils that are out there that have not yet done so, make sure they confirm that information with us. That way they are not dropped from the tour. The next few items, we've asked them to update their Key 3 information with us. Similarly, we've had about half of our councils complete that, and to set up a Lodge ArrowTour committee. The Lodge ArrowTour committee is one of the ones they need to email us and tell us whether they've completed it or not, so that way we know. The two key individuals we're looking for there is we're looking for that they at least have one youth and one adult appointed to that committee. If they have more, we strongly encourage it, especially for some of our larger lodges out there. But as long as they have those two key people, that's who we're really looking for with that. Next, we're looking at them posting a story to their lodge website and their council website, a story to each. There are a few sample stories in our promotional packages and in the information you saw Mike show to you, as well as in the information that National has with their promotional materials. If they need an example story to put up, and if they'd like to write their own story, that's perfectly fine. As Mike mentioned, just make sure that they follow the branding and style guides. So we're looking for them to get a story posted on their lodge website and on their council website. Similarly, we're looking for them to get an event posted on their lodge calendar and on their council calendar. Now we're looking for those events to have details on them about their stop in particular. So their venue, the actual street address, the start and stop times, all those kind of details for everyone. We have a few councils that have posted an event on their calendar, but it's just listed as an all-day event. It doesn't have any details. So again, you can reference the emails that were sent to you yesterday to see which councils you have that are still in need of that information. So next on our action items we requested for the lodges, we have requested again that they update the ArrowTour Committee Chairman Advisor, update their information on their Google document. Similarly, update the 20 staff that they're recruiting on the Google document. The one thing we would like to add about those 20 staff to make sure that everybody is updating those in real time as they are recruited. So if you have a larger council that's only recruited 5 out of 20 staff members, that's fine. We just ask that they make sure they enter in that 5 or those 5 members' contact information rather than waiting till the end when they have all 20 and entering them all at once. That way we can just see that they are making progress on that and that they haven't forgotten about it. Next, we've asked them to take some pictures of their sites, their venues, and send those to us so we can start planning some more specific details about the layout for their venues. ArrowTour does have a adaptive layout, as you saw mentioned in the video at the beginning of this webinar. We can work with the site if there's a field or we need to break up the tents or however that's going to work. That's completely fine. We've asked each host lodge council to send us some pictures of their site so we can plan what we're going to do as far as setting up our actual layout. We've had a few do that so far. And in the email that you received yesterday, it does say to reference last week's webinar and Terrell's letters for more complete instructions on how to do pictures. So just to go over what we're looking for with the pictures, quite simply we're asking that lodges or councils, whoever's taking these pictures, to go out to the center of their site to take pictures looking in every direction so we can see the full site. Panoramic pictures are acceptable, however they do warp things a little bit, so we ask that in addition to panoramic photos that they take some additional static shots pointing in all directions. In addition to that, they should walk to each of the 4 corners of their site. If it's an outdoor area without defined corners, they can go to the 4 compass points and face back towards the center of their site and take pictures from that outside facing inwards. And those pictures should give us a pretty good idea of what they're looking at for a site. If they have any special or unique features on their site, such as a specific bathroom area or if it's at a camp, any camp facilities such as a zip line or a rock wall, or maybe there's an electrical outlet or a water spigot, something like that, any points of interest, they can take pictures of those as well. And they can submit those to us by email, or they can upload them directly to their Google Drive folder. Our last couple items, we asked lodges to attend staff webinar, which was last week. As of this point, we have confirmed about 1/3 to 1/2 of our lodges have had that information reach them. The recording of the webinar is currently being worked on and will be posted shortly on our website, as well as the FAQs from that webinar will be posted as well, similarly to how this webinar and FAQs will be posted. And again, we've asked them to confirm their start and stop times, and finally to complete their Memorandum of Understanding. Now, in case you're not familiar, the Memorandum of Understanding, or MOU, is the agreement between the lodge and the National Order of the Arrow Committee. It's a contract, if you will, between the two of them. Those were sent out by our region chairman, Toby Capps, about a week or 2 ago to each of our council's key leadership. And those documents require that they read over them. They'll have to provide information on the venue that they have selected, as well as an estimate of the attendance they expect at their stop. Now, we need them to fill that out. It requires a few signatures. They're Scout Executive, Council President, a few volunteers like that. We need them to get those signatures and to return that back to Toby as well as Matt Dukeman. And they need to do that as well. Same thing applies with the venues. They need to do that by April 15th and have that completely turned in and signed. Otherwise, per national directive, we're going to be required to drop them from the tour. So again, please refer back to those emails that were sent out yesterday to determine if any of your councils still need to take care of that. And if you could help us out as a section, kind of go to your councils and follow up on that with us as well. Just that way we're hitting them with another line of communications. So that's kind of a summary of each of the things that the lodges have been asked to do so far. That's where we are at as far as requests from the lodges and what we've been looking for them to do to help us out with ArrowTour. So that wraps up everything that we need to do, and we'll now be going over to our question and answer session. So I'm going to ask Ricky to see if we have any questions there that need to be answered, anything that you've posted. And just a reminder, if you have any more questions you would like to post, the box on the right of the video you are currently watching is where you may post those. So I'll turn this over to Ricky to see if we have any questions that need to be answered.
Nathan Lee asks, is ArrowTour only for Arrowmen? Michael, can you take this question?
Sure. So ArrowTour is for everyone, not just Arrowmen, and that's one of the unique things about this program. Other national programs, such as NOAC, are going to be closed and only to members who pre-registered for the event, specifically or to the Arrow members. ArrowTour, however, does not have any pre-registration required and is open to anyone who'd like to attend. That could be Arrowmen, that could be Scouts or Scouters who are not Arrowmen, and that could be any members of the public at large.
Will there be minutes of a combination of these two sessions with the bullet points of the section's responsibilities? Michael, could you answer this one?
Yeah. So just to remind everyone, there will be a summary of each of these as well as a cut-down, edited version of the video, and those will be distributed to all of you within a week or so following this call. So in case you have any members of your section that were unable to join us tonight for whatever reason, they will be able to review all of this and get their questions answered as well.
All right, thank you, Michael. Have we received any questions over the email?
We have very few questions, but we do have some. The first question that we received by email about our, or geared towards our section, is who does a section have to get approval for trading posts? So again, we understand that section trading posts are unique to each of your sections. I know that the section I come from has a deal worked out where lodges can get like packages of section items and sell them into lodge trading posts, but not all sections have something like that. So it's completely between you and the lodges within your section that are hosting stops how you want to handle your section trading post. Just make sure that you do get appropriate approval and permissions from the whoever the venue is owned by. So if that's a council camp, by that council. If it's by a public place, make sure you get their approval to be selling things on their site. And yeah, just make sure you get those approvals. And we, of course, on the national side of things, the region side of things, are completely fine with you selling whatever you would like to sell.
All right, thanks, Michael. Next question is, how many ArrowTour routes are there? Mike, could you answer this question?
Yes, I can. So we got 4 routes. The Western region route, as you guys know. We'll also have a route in the Northeastern region, Southern, and Central region. Our route is the biggest, which is why, again, we need your help with it. But that's just the general overview. Back to you, Rick.
Is there a contingency plan in the case for an unfortunate accident or vehicle breakdown? Terrell, could you answer this one?
Yes, the contingency plan is we'll call on the sections and lodges where we're at to help us out. If we can, in terms of drivers, if we can find one more full-time driver, then we've pretty much solved that problem. If one driver gets sick or hurt, then we still have a backup driver. In the case of the van and the truck, unfortunately, if the truck simply dies, we'll probably have to wait for Enterprise to send a new truck or a new van, and that will cause a significant delay in our arriving at the next site. As we travel, we only have 2 sites that we arrive the day before we do the event. So that means we have to travel anywhere from 2 to 5 hours in the morning, arrive, set up, and be ready to go at 2 o'clock. So if we have a major breakdown of either of the 2 vehicles, we're going to be in big trouble, and we'll probably have to start that event late.
How large is the caravan, and will they be able to travel mountain roads? Terrell, can you answer this one?
Sure. We have a 16-foot cab-over Enterprise rental truck, and we have a 15-passenger van. Chances are, if the truck can get to your dining hall to bring the food that you use, like the Cisco truck, almost every dining hall gets food deliveries from a trailer truck. So I don't think that any camp is going to have a problem with the roads and are getting our little 16-foot truck up there. Now, we may have a problem in some places where, like we're in a city park, if it's really wet and the park is muddy, we may not be able to back the truck up where we want it to because we would kind of ruin the grass. So we'll have to deal with those situations as we arrive and get ready to do the tour.
Next question is, how can a section assist the lodge with each of their ArrowTour stops? VNA, could you answer this one?
Okay, so the question was, how can the section help lodges with their ArrowTour stop? Well, there's a variety of ways that the section can help. Just like Conclave, you want to make this event as successful as you can. And so in doing so, you need to provide the necessary support for them to be successful. And so that starts with the section ArrowTour coordinator. And you're going to work through them to ensure that your lodges are doing the right jobs and being successful, staying on top of what they're doing. If your section wants to put on some program enhancement types during the ArrowTour program, that would be great as well. We were talking during this presentation that sections can put out booths, trading posts, what have you. It'd be really great, to get the word out of what the OA section actually does. This is the opportunity to really meet a lot of the airmen who may not know what Conclave or what the section does on a regular basis. And so this can be your time to really interface with a lot of the youth and a lot of the adults to help your mission.
All right, thank you, VNA. So at this time, I'm going to ask, we're going to have our last call for questions. So again, if you have any questions, please post them in the box that says comments to the right of the video that you are currently watching, and we will be happy to answer those for you. We'll address a few more questions that we've had submitted beforehand, as well as anything you post in the next couple of minutes, and then we're going to be wrapping things up after that. So this is your last opportunity to get any questions asked. So again, if you have any questions, please post them in that box to the upper right-hand corner to the right of the video that you are now currently watching. So with that, Ricky, do we have any more questions?
Since it's the OA's birthday, will there be any cake?
I love this question. We actually got asked this by a Lodge adult volunteer on our last webinar set, and I hope there will be cake. I am strongly encouraging personally that we have a large birthday cake at every single ArrowTour stop, and I think we will all be thoroughly disappointed if we come to a stop that doesn't have a birthday cake. So yes, please do encourage each of your host lodges to make a nice big centennial birthday cake, and maybe there could be a little bit of a competition of sorts. Who can come up with the most creative or unique OA 100 birthday cake at their stop? So yes, definitely.
Our next question is, why should I go to the nearest ArrowTour event when it comes? Michael, could you take this one?
Yeah, so one of the biggest things about the Order of the Arrow is we're a little bit mysterious to our members, and I was actually asked this question at a section COC meeting I attended for another section recently. And I think the best answer that we can give if we hear this question asked is just talk about an opportunity it is to see what the Order of the Arrow is and what we actually do. It's something that not too many people get to see too often, and that a lot of people don't have direct access to what we do as an order and get direct insight into everything that we do. So they can come, they can see what the Order of the Arrow is all about, they can see what we do as an organization, how we benefit scouting, how we benefit individuals. An example was given of if you have any skeptical scoutmasters that are out there unsure about what they feel about the Order of the Arrow being in their troop. This might be an opportunity for you to get them to an event just to see what the Order of the Arrow is about, what it does. They can see some of the Order of the Arrow's youth leadership functioning at their finest and really get a sense for what the Order does. And of course, in addition to that, it's just a great opportunity to come to hang out with some of your friends and to spend an afternoon having some fun with scouts and scouters and just having a great time.
I just wanted to cover two things. Michael touched on the MOUs. It's very important that the councils return the Memorandum of Understanding by the 15th or they get dropped from the tour. That's very, very important. One of the biggest things that sections can do is coordinate between the councils and the lodges in your section. If you have lodges that are not hosting an event, you need to get them involved and coordinate with the lodge that's hosting, just like you would for a section conference. If the lodges that aren't hosting don't feel like they're part of the effort and don't feel like they're part of the event, they're not going to attend. They're not going to provide publicity, marketing. They're not going to provide staff or enhancements. So it's really critical that the sections be involved in coordinating between the councils and the section so that they're all talking to each other and helping each other out. And one of the real important things the section chief and the section advisor can do is monitor the council and lodge websites and their social media and make sure that they're putting articles on the council website, on the lodge website, and on their calendars. We're less than 90 days from the start of this tour, and I would bet that less than half of the lodges even have the ArrowTour stops on their calendars. Check your section calendar and see if all of the events in your section are on your section website. Are you doing an ArrowTour post each week on your section's social media? Marketing starts at the section, and the section can encourage the council and all of the lodges in your section, not just the ones that are hosting. Make sure you get all of the lodges in your section involved. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Terrell. And back to Michael for a closing.
All right. Seeing that we have no more questions coming in, we'd like to thank everybody for taking the time to join us. And we know that sections are very busy this year with ArrowTour and NOAC and the entire Centennial celebration, so we appreciate all the effort and support that you've been putting towards the ArrowTour program as well as everything else going on. And we look forward to going out and seeing all of you on ArrowTour. With that, this kind of concludes our webinar. We hopefully will be seeing you on the public webinar next week, which will be on the same date at the times that, again, were sent you in the email sent out yesterday. So with all that being said, thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you for taking the time, and we'll leave you here with this video. Good night, everybody.
ArrowTour, our national centennial experience. This video is an introduction to the ArrowTour program, an essential overview. First, what is ArrowTour? ArrowTour is designed to bring the 100th anniversary celebration to everyone across the United States. It's open to airmen, scouts, scouters, and the public at large. Few organizations turn 100 years old, and we want to showcase what we've done over the last 100 years, along with what is to come. The main theme for ArrowTour is Reflect, Connect, Discover. We want people to come and reflect on what the Order has done, along with what they have done for the Order. We also want people to connect with each other through games, interactive displays, and more, both at the tour and on social media. Finally, we want people to discover what the Order has to offer, what the next 100 years will bring, and how guests can be a part of it. Our centennial is a big deal, and while NOAC will have a record-setting 15,000 airmen, that only represents 6% of everyone in the Order of the Arrow. Our centennial is for 100% of our airmen. ArrowTour is how the National Order of the Arrow is going to bring that celebration to you. The program itself will be several display tents with branding, games, silk screening, a centennial trading post, information, and interactive displays, and more. The base layout will be 6 tents arranged in 2 lines like a midway, with a box truck and a stage setting up the back of the event. Because all venues are different, this layout will shift based on topography. However, the minimum total displays will be at least what is pictured. Each small tent is 12 by 12, and each large tent is 12 by 24. Traveling with all the equipment will be a crack team of scouts and scouters. They will be coordinating, setting up, tearing down, and presenting what our Centennial is all about. This staff team will be traveling over 6,000 miles for 6 weeks to 35 events across 15 different states. ArrowTour will be coming to a city near you, and we want you to be there. Leading up to and during the tour, people can participate by following posts on the Western region and national Facebook pages, along with posting to Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram with the hashtag ATWest. Do you have any questions, comments, or concerns about ArrowTour? Email us at atwest@western.oa-bsa.org. Like what you see? We want you to come to an ArrowTour event. Find the closest one to you by going to western.oa-bsa.org/ATWestern and click on schedule. We look forward to seeing you at an ArrowTour event near you.